Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be sharing all of my top 5 tinted moisturizer, skin tint, complexion enhancers, whatever you want to call these type of products. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so before we dive into my top 5, I want to just share a little bit about what I personally look for in these products. I want a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer to be what it claims to be. I don't want a tinted moisturizer that is in fact like a full coverage foundation. I've got full coverage foundations for that. When I'm purchasing a tinted moisturizer, a complexion enhancer, a skin tint, I want it to do exactly that. I want it to match up the tone between my face and my body. My body is always much deeper than my face because I keep my face very out of the sun, SPF 50 all the time, hat on wherever possible, in the shade wherever possible. My body picks up colour in the summer, but my face doesn't really, maybe a little, but not as much as the bod. So a lot of the time what I want from like a tinted moisturizer is to match up so I don't look bonkers, and I don't want it to give me so much coverage that I then have to like go in with concealer or go in with bronzer because I look like a blank canvas. I just want it to even up my skin tone a little, tone down redness, maybe even out some discoloration. I want it to look like I'm not wearing makeup. I don't want to have to go in with any other products. Like when I go in with tinted moisturizer, typically that's all I'm doing for like the skin. I don't want to use bronzer. Maybe I might do bronzer, but no blush, no highlight. So I want a very natural finish, not too dewy, definitely not matte. I want it to feel weightless. I want it to look undetectable, and I want it to just give me like I've just had a facial skin. I'm not asking for much, but I also want all of that, and I want it to wear well. I don't really care whether it has SPF or not. I feel like a lot of tinted moisturizers do. That doesn't bother me. I only would really ever use a tinted moisturizer or skin tint in the daytime anyway, so I'm not worried about flashback or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I have a pretty normal balanced skin type, not especially oily, no dryness, no dry patches, and I don't have sensitive skin. My concerns are sort of dull skin, signs of aging, things like that. I like a fresh, healthy glow to the skin. That's kind of everything I feel like is helpful to know when I'm sharing my favorites. Now I'm doing my top 5 today, but I wanted to share an honorable mention, and that is the Lancome Skin Feels Good. This was my absolute holy grail in this category for years, but it's been discontinued here. What a joke. However, I want to mention it because it is still available in the US. I don't know about what other countries this is still available in, but I see it everywhere in the US still available. So that is an excellent one. If you are US based, I think it's so beautiful. It's exactly everything I described that I love. Small amount of SPF, really nice undertones. It has like a light coverage, very beautiful, luminous, fresh, juicy skin look. Feels very light and hydrating, and it wears incredibly well. If you've been here a long time, you'll know the train story, the great train story of 2010. I don't remember what year it was. It must have been later than that because my children were there. But I wore this on the day from hell, the hottest day on earth, very long day. It was a lot, and it held up beautifully, which is quite unusual for such a glowy, like tinted moisturizer. I think it's amazing if you can get it. That would have been solidly in this top 5, but mine has run out. I can't get another one. And Lancome actually confirmed to me that it was discontinued in the UK, so I don't know why. I'm assuming it's something to do with the SPF they use because we do have different regulations here. So a sad day, but if you can get it, congratulations. So moving on to the ones that I can actually get. First up, we have the Chanel Water Fresh Tint. Do not confuse this glorious one with the teeny one that I do not like. This is a very thin, watery, barely there skin tint. Definitely fits into like the complexion enhancer category. They have like a nice amount of shades. I use the shade medium, and I can use this in winter or summer because it is so sheer. It doesn't really matter whether it's a little light or a little deep or a little off undertone wise, because it really isn't giving you a lot of coverage. What I love about this is it feels delightful on the skin. So fresh and hydrating, and it just makes your skin look fresh and hydrated. Beautiful. Really isn't going to give you much coverage whatsoever. It's just going to even everything out. I feel like it matches up my body a little bit, makes the difference look a little less extreme, but it also just kind of slightly takes the edge off of redness, slightly takes the edge off discoloration, melasma, stuff like that. It just evens everything up. I use this, under my eyes to kind of give that a bit of a brightening look rather than having to go in with concealer. It's so beautiful. Very, very fresh, youthful, plump looking, juicy skin. Wears nicely, and again wears away very, very undetectably. The good thing about these sheerer skin tints is if they do start to wear, you don't start to look a mess, because there's just a very subtle difference where it's sort of fading, versus if you had a full coverage foundation on that was fading and disappearing, that's going to be noticeable. It's really not noticeable when this starts to wear off, and it doesn't get sort of super shiny throughout the day. It just stays this beautiful, very refined luminosity. Love it. Next up, more of a classic tinted moisturizer, and it's the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Skin Tint. I'm a big fan of Shiseido complexion products, their foundations and their skin tint. It's no exception. This is so beautiful, and this actually gives you more of a sort of almost like medium type of coverage. Definitely a lot more than the Chanel. It's got, more of a sort of tinted moisturizer level of coverage. This does have SPF 20 in it. Obviously you're not going to get that full amount of SPF just using this as a tinted moisturizer, but it is a nice little bonus on top of sunscreen. So yeah, this is a really nice, glowy, light coverage, beautiful tinted moisturizer. Again, it feels hydrating. It's beautifully luminous, quite a bit glowier, I would say, than the Chanel. And it's just so flattering. Very, very smooth, very, very juicy, glowy and fresh and healthy. Wears, again, beautifully. Perfect sort of travel friendly, handbag friendly little container as well. Ideal if you want to pop this in your handbag and touch up throughout the day. I think it wears beautifully if you want something that is still on the lighter side of coverage, but it actually has a bit of coverage. This is an excellent choice. It's just beautiful, very, very natural, but wears nicely, stays very fresh, doesn't get too dewy throughout the day, so you look shiny. It's very, very beautiful, and I really, really love that as more of a classic tinted moisturizer. Now, something a bit more similar to the Chanel is the Chantecaille. This is the anti-aging skin tint. The negative thing about this is it's only available in one shade, and I can only use this shade in summer. Comes in this little pot, which again, some people will not like. I don't really mind it. I just literally get my brush in there and give myself a light little bit of something, a little bit of oomph all over the skin. I love this in summer. This does, because it has that bronzy shade to it, it really does an excellent job, probably the best job out of all of these products I'm going to talk about as to matching my face and my body. That's what I love this for. So I don't really get coverage necessarily. I'd say it's probably a sort of light, a sheerish light coverage, but it just matches perfectly my body. It's like the exact shade of my body in summer, and so it really does even up everything between my face and body, and it has the most beautiful glowy finish to it. It does an excellent job as well of evening up redness and discoloration and melasma without necessarily covering it. It still looks very, very skin-like. It's a very sort of moussey type of texture, quite different to anything else we've spoken about. Has a gorgeous Turkish Delight scent. Is that just me? And it just feels so beautiful on the skin. If I just am going on the school run and all I want to do is just even up my face to my body so I don't look like two disconnected humans, this is the one that I will grab for, because it just does that so perfectly. It was just going to even everything up, take the stark whiteness off of my face in the contrast against my body, and it just evens everything up beautifully without me like feeling like I'm a complete blank sheet of paper. I feel like it just gives me enough without me needing to balance anything out. It's very, very beautifully glowy. Again, very fresh, healthy, juicy, but not shiny or sweaty. I don't think this wears quite as well as some of these others. So I do kind of use it as, you know, those when I'm halfway through the day and I'm just going out the door and I want to just do a little bit of something to even up. But it's so perfect for that specific thing. But again, I can only use this in summer, whereas all of these other products, you know, I could buy 2 shades of this one, and because this has less color to it, less pigmentation, I don't need to be really close on my shade, whereas this one, you know, if you have fair or light skin tone, this is going to really bronze up your skin. So I wish it came in more shades. Next, let's talk about this Chanel Complexion. What is it called? The Chanel No. 1 Skin Enhancers. Now, I bought 2 shades of these. I did a whole review on this, side by side, if you want to see. This is the shade Soft Pink. I also bought the medium shade. The issue I have with this is only available in 3 shades. The deep shade is too deep for me. This one is too light for me in summer. The medium shade is definitely going to be too deep for me in winter. So I have to kind of like mix the 2 shades that I have together, which is annoying because it's expensive and who wants to buy 2? So I feel like they really could have done with more shades, because it definitely has enough color to it that the shade matters. You know, it's not like this one where you could probably whack pretty much any shade within reason on and make it work. These, I feel like they just have a little more color to them, and therefore it's a bit more noticeable if the shade is completely wildly off. This lightens my skin quite noticeably, and the other one definitely deepens it quite noticeably. So I do have to mix, which is annoying, but I do love the pump for that, because it's very easy to use this in a really nice versatile way. You know, you can mix it with foundation and get a bit of a glow. You can use it as a primer. I don't love these as a primer. I spoke about that in my roundup, because if you don't use natural primer, then you just go straight in with this as primer, I feel like you sacrifice a little bit of skin texture, because these are super glowy. These are definitely something that I like mixed in or as a kind of underneath makeup, because they are very shiny, almost like highlighty. So used all over the skin with nothing else, this will look very shiny. So I prefer to use these either mixed with foundation or underneath foundation, but I will use a primer first so I get that smooth base to go on top of, so that like smooth canvas. But these are so beautiful at just adding a little bit of something, a little bit of a glow boost. I also love mixing these with like the Chanel No. 1 foundation, and just gives it that even more beautiful glow, or underneath, or kind of, you know, strategically placed, and then a little bit of maybe the Chanel Beige Water Fresh tint, just kind of to add a bit of coverage and tone down the glow wherever I like it. I just really am enjoying using these and mixing them in and playing with them. I think they're fun to play with, and they're quite versatile in the ways that you can use them. And if you keep these kind of to the perimeter of your skin and lightly in the center of the face, then you could use it all over, especially if you don't mind being super duper glowy. But yeah, they can give you a bit of a Tin Man if you go fully just these all over the skin. But I love these mixed in with foundation. I like these used kind of more strategically to give you that gorgeous glow to the skin. Very beautiful. It doesn't give you a huge amount of coverage, but they do kind of, again, tone down a little bit of redness, brighten a little bit depending on the color. You can use them to, you know, add a bit of bronziness to the skin. So they're quite a sort of versatile, pick how you want to use them kind of product. Not really a tinted moisturizer, definitely more of like an enhancing skin tint. It's a good little extra bonus bit of glow and luminosity and just oomph to the skin. But if you want something to wear, you know, as a light coverage base product, I would go more so for the others over that one. That one's more of a sort of exactly what it says. It claims to be a skin enhancer, complexion booster, as opposed to a skin tint or tinted moisturizer. And now for my absolute favorite of all of these, the absolute best tinted moisturizer. Luckily, it's toppled the Lancome Skin Feels Good for me. It's the Hourglass. This is the Veil Hydrating Skin Tint, and it is my favorite tinted moisturizer skin tint type of product I've ever tried. I absolutely love it. This is just everything I want from a tinted moisturizer. It's got a light coverage. It really does an excellent job at evening out skin tone, redness, melasma, but remaining perfectly natural. It's so natural, and it has this most beautiful, elegant luminosity, but it's not dewy, shiny, too glowy. It's just this beautiful, natural finish. The perfect amount of coverage for a tinted moisturizer, where it's light but you still see your skin through, and everything looks just beautiful, like you were blessed with the best skin on earth. It wears very, very well. It does not get too shiny throughout the day. It doesn't fade detectably throughout a good solid 8 hours. I've been using this non-stop. This is actually kind of been the product that made me appreciate or want to use a tinted moisturizer. They're really not typically my type of product. I'm like an all or nothing kind of girl. But this I've really been reaching for a lot in the summer. It's very comfortable, light and hydrating feeling on the skin, and it just looks so natural, so pretty. You know, you can do a little bit more with bronzer if you want, but you can just wear this on its own and it doesn't look like you've just got foundation on and you're a bit like, you know, one-dimensional. You get a nice 35 mils in this really compact, nice to look at, but very travel size friendly, purse friendly. I like that it hasn't got SPF in it. So again, you could take this daytime to nighttime if you want to go super natural in the evening and not worry about anything. It wears nicely. It's easy to top up and touch up and keep in your handbag throughout the day. I think this is such a great travel product as well. This is my absolute favorite of the bunch. I think it's the best tinted moisturizer I've ever tried. I even think I like it more than the Lancome Skin Feels Good, which I thought would never happen. This is the best of the best. It's also very, very smooth on skin texture, I've noticed. I feel like that can be tricky to achieve with more of a skin tinted moisturizer type of product. Sometimes they're not as good at smoothing texture, and I guess maybe because they haven't got the coverage to help with that, but I feel like this really is very flattering on texture, lines, and just uneven tone to the skin. It's really very forgiving. It's really, really nice on like problem areas. It doesn't sink into, you know, lines and things like that. It doesn't ball up. It's really very smooth, fresh, flawless look with like a really natural, minimal amount of coverage. It's like magic. The best of the best. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my top 5 tinted moisturizer, skin tint, skin enhancer, whatever you'd like to call them, with definitely one kind of standout. If I was going to say my favorite kind of more complexion enhancer with minimal coverage, I would go with the Chanel Water Fresh tint. Definitely much more coverage, much more of a tinted moisturizer in the Hourglass. This is definitely more of a complexion enhancer, skin tint type of situation. These are like my top 2 in those 2 categories, but some excellent little numbers among these 5. Please let me know what your favorite skin tint, tinted moisturizer, complexion enhancer, complexion compactor is in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.